All righty. Dana Lawrence Caragine, did I pronounce that right?
Good enough.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time.
Of course.
We've chatted a little bit through kind of LinkedIn on a couple different topics,
Mhm.
and I just wanted to get your opinion. I saw that you're there with the Princeton Federal Credit Union, and
Mhm.
from what I saw, you started there as a senior director in lending and marketing, and now you're the CEO for roughly 6 months, 6 months.
Mhm.
So when you were first hired in, were you hired in the succession planning of becoming CEO, or is that something that evolved after you had been there for a little bit?
I could probably come up with a more flattering retelling, but the answer is no, I was not hired in as a direct successor. I was hired in knowing that the credit union was looking at a really fascinating succession picture. We had a lion of a CEO in his 60s named Sam Policelli, 21-year CEO. We had a 21-year CFO, another lion, Joe Vitti, and we had a director of human resources who was approaching 70. Okay, and so
Oh,
we had
wow.
a core group of leaders, very, very seasoned. And when I came in, I thought this was an amazing opportunity to apply my skills in a place that I'm super passionate about. This has been the community of my heart since I was 18, but it wasn't so much for my own personal ascension or development. I figured I was probably 8 to 10 years away, maybe,
Okay.
if the opportunity ever came. And the credit union did a national search. I worked for Sam, uh, learned a lot, got to really love the people. I was very humbled to get the call about this job last year.
Okay. So
Mhm.
you had a pretty strong background in both marketing and then you worked in lending as well. So that's how you
I
became
did.
senior director of lending and marketing.
Yeah, we know it's a non-conventional mix. It was a couple of years of being able to work on both amplifying our lending demand and then streamlining and optimizing some of the processes around which we lend. And about partway through my time in that role, I was in that role about 20 months. I took on community business development and community relations as well.
Okay. I like these being just kind of
Yeah,
informal meet and greets, just, so people can kind of get to know you, get to know
for
me,
sure.
and kind of touch on some, important aspects in different parts of the credit union space. And with you being
Hmm.
a newer CEO, you've been in your role for about 6 months now, correct?
Hmm. Correct.
Looking back at those first days, what surprised you most about stepping into the top leadership seat?
All right. So, what's a couple of things that surprised me super positively? One, this was true both when I arrived in 2004 and then when I took this seat in the end of 2005. How strong a tech stack and tech ecosystem you can actually build with third-party vendor help, with fintech help, with some imagination. I thought we were going to be in a much more reactive posture about technology from the beginning, and that hasn't proven to be the case. We love our core. We love our core services. We think our online banking is on par with a major bank. There's a lot to like here in terms of technology, services, and readiness. Another thing has just been the loyalty of the members. I came from a major US bank where people were pretty loyal, and I'm from the private bank there. And then
Okay.
on to private lending, where the whole concept is that you build a lending relationship off a long-standing relationship with a banker. And so I came into this expecting to see maybe not the same degree of loyalty or of connection that I'd seen in a prior related industry, I'd say. And I can't believe the loyalty and the unity of our members. They are just bought in a major way. In the last couple of months, I did a podcast with the mayor of Princeton, who's a long
Yeah, I
time.
saw I
Did you
saw
see
that
that?
the
I'm
post
glad you
on it.
saw.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been a self-declared longtime loyal member, and I almost couldn't get a word in edgewise in terms of the fabulous things he had to say about us. I was blushing on this podcast. I mean, it's a good analogy of the just the loyalty to members. So those are two real tailwinds, I'd say.
Okay.
And here the headwind has really just been about brand awareness and about understanding what a credit union is. We're such a heavily banked geography, and people, financial services being a major employer here, that a lot of the conversations we have with people that are considering membership or coming across us for the first time is around what is a credit union. And so it's something that I envy friends out in the industry out in California, Texas, Washington, places, Oregon, certainly places where there's real entrenchment. That might be true of Ohio as well. I've actually never asked. I'd be eager to learn.
Well, actually, you know what? That brings up a question. So as you're talking with people from Princeton,
Mhm.
do you find that even though you've been around the institution that is for a while,
Mhm.
that there's still employees of the Princeton that don't know you exist?
Absolutely. 53 years of history, and there are thousands of employees who still don't know we exist. And Princeton's actually only one of our 97 segs at this point. So we've got 97 segs and an association relationship. So we've cast a pretty wide net. Did you see the movie Oppenheimer?
No, actually, I can't say that I have.
All right. Some have, and it's a film set at the Institute for Advanced Study, which is another one of our very large segs. And so the employees, the people that make that institution run, many of them have never heard of us either. We have a big opportunity ahead in brand awareness, a very board endorsed opportunity. It's something our board has asked us to really focus on.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Now, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. All good. We're all living
I
human
should have
lives
turned my
here. The
phone off.
beauty of the credit union movement. You might see my kids making little cameos behind me.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. Actually, the other day we were shooting a commercial, and I had my daughter's dog in here because we called him the unofficial mascot of UTFCU, and so I had my dog here. If we would have, well, my daughter's dog technically, but
I love it.
I don't bring him in that often. But it was kind of cute. Kind of cute. We did have him in here for a quick second.
That's great.
Now, so many leaders spend years preparing for a CEO role.
Hmm.
But the reality can be different once you arrive. What's been the biggest lesson you've learned so far in these first 6 months?
I think the importance of coaching and listening to other people, and joining organizations like QLIS. Certainly, there's in some sense I feel sort of rare. A CEO in my 40s and in a place as heavily banked as here. Um, in some ways, I don't. I mean, there's more than 300 female credit union just CEOs just in this one organization nationally. That's been a pretty cool resource for me. And I like networking like this, reaching out and meeting people like you. And I appreciated your outreach to me.
Oh, thank
So
you.
just the degree to which people are willing to help. I think people told me there's a loneliness to this. I'm still waiting for that to hit in full, maybe. I haven't felt that quite as much, but it's something I've been coached to expect.
I to a little degree, I can agree
Hmm.
with that. So when entering a new organization, as the CEO, how do you balance honoring the existing culture with also creating momentum for change?
I had such a super like a I had the perfect confluence of events you'd want to to be able to thrive in a situation like you're describing. So I came 2 years before I came into this seat, a little less, without the organization saying she's the heir apparent. That wasn't how it was. I had a chance to have real direct impact out the gate in marketing and lending, and I had the chance to show, thanks to the teams and their hard work, some really pronounced growth. Okay, and so more than a year into that, we're not only kind of proving things out numerically and proving things out with respect to how our branding works, how our messaging and our value prop work. All of that's good, but I'm also at that point working for a CEO who's an incredible listener and just very, very collaborative, able to bring people in. And he was letting me put some strategy in place with his direction. And so when I took the reins, it wasn't one of my objectives was to make sure they knew what a not big pivot this was going to be, because I'd had the chance to be part of the place and part of the shaping of it for more than a year before I stepped into the seat. And so
Yeah.
that has been really nice. And I've certainly spoken with people newer to CEO roles and credit uniondom around the industry who have had to do a much harder tack and redirection, had to pivot radically, had to go through significant personnel changes. We just really haven't experienced that so much here. But I found a gentle touch here goes a long way. We have median tenure of employee over 7 years, people that have been in roles that they feel pretty entrenched in, people that are very hungry to grow, a healthy mix of all of those things. I think in some ways, though, I give them credit. I'm sure I'm much more digital than they're used to. I'm a lot more email, a lot more Teams, a lot more stuff coming at you. And so I'm sure that if we were to bring a pool of my directs in here, just some of the incredible people at this credit union, they'd say, we really hear from Dana a lot electronically. I think they probably would report that.
Yeah, it probably did help, because some many CEOs come in as CEOs, so it's a little bit of shock, with
Mhm.
them getting used to the existing culture, the existing employees, and then sometimes you have personality issues, and in some
Mhm.
cases, you even have senior leaders who wanted their job who didn't get
Yes.
it, and then you've got some issues there.
Mhm.
New CEOs often inherit both opportunities and challenges. How do you evaluate which needs immediate attention versus, what needs, patience and some long-term planning?
That's a great question. I think that most things in credit uniondom benefit from patience and long-term advanced planning. I think it's the nature of the animal. Um, the mayor asked me, "Do you see yourself as in the same, are banks and credit unions different animals?" And I said, "They're different zoos." I came from a place of like feeling like immediacy was real, feeling like, you had to make decisions around ROA, ROI, yield. Like these were midday, every day, and there was a velocity to it. Here, there's a thoughtfulness to it. So I can give you kind of I could put my accounting glasses on for a minute and say, from that answer, I would love to see what we can do to get non-interest income up. I'd love to see what we can do to drive up our ROA, which just really hasn't been a historic focus of ours so much as member service, member growth. Other things has
It-
been. That would be
yes,
my accounting glasses answer, but my answer as a holistic human is to take things in a thoughtful, collaborative way and to let this group speak about our future. And I don't anticipate a real pivot here. I am so wowed by and you were just mentioning CEOs that come in as CEOs and they need to make hard changes. Those are very, very difficult. I have had a more buffered experience.
that's good.
Mhm.
Well, and one of the great things we have in the credit union space
Mhm.
is the credit union mantra of people helping people.
Oh
So
yeah.
it just creates a completely different environment, as you were just talking about the
Mhm.
difference between, banks and credit unions. For aspiring leaders listening today, what
Mhm.
skills or mindset do you believe are most important when preparing to become a first-time CEO?
I think there's not much you can do to replace for curiosity and for hunger to learn. So as someone who's aspiring to be a CEO in any time in your, the first say half of your career, I'd say try to actively put yourself in positions where you're learning about things that you have no knowledge in. And the more that they are dissimilar to your classic role lane, the better. Go learn. If you're like me and you're in marketing and lending, take advantage of every investment knowledge, ALM style opportunity you get your hands on. Take advantage of every community event you can get to. Do your best to learn a little bit about HR. Do your best to learn a little bit about facilities. Certainly a focus of all of ours these days, right? And so do your best to not stay in your lane and to develop relationships where you can ask questions of people where you feel like they're dumb. I
Okay.
promise you, I've asked my share of them once. Hmm.
I told you I would keep this short and sweet. I've got
Okay,
one final
please.
question for you.
Hmm.
Princeton FCU has something unique that stands out, and that's a mascot. Now,
Oh, you like our mascot?
yes, that's not something many credit unions can say. Tell us the story behind the mascot and how it helps connect with members in the community.
All right, so this is very much a tiger community, much in the spirit of Auburn, maybe at one square root of the scale in terms of size. But it's a long time tiger community. We certainly honor that's the university's mascot, bright orange and black. But we like our green tiger. We call him Prince Tom the tiger. He makes cameos, and we connected him in designing him, and he makes appearances on our social media. So that's clearly what we've picked up on. We connect him to some of the best aspects of what we think it is to do business with us as a credit union. We are very warm. We are at times a little bit whimsical. We are at times a little bit adventurous. We're willing to try new products. We're willing to try new things. And so we'd like to think he represents that. Now, I will admit that as a Princetonian, I was a little torn. Part of me wanted to go with the team with the Tiger when he debuted late 2024, but there's also a strong Princeton area allegiance to black squirrels. We have black squirrels here. They look just
Okay.
like normal squirrels, except they're black.
Uh-huh.
And they're many of them are part of a scientific study. And so they're wearing tracker earrings. They're little black squirrels with little silver loop earrings that are chipped. And so if you live in this immediate area, you know about this and you're amused by it. We thought about creating the black squirrel mascot, but cooler heads than my loyal ones prevailed, and we went with the tiger. But again, we're just trying to. What I like about what it did in capturing your attention is that you perceived a little something about us, that we're willing to be a little warm, willing to be a little whimsical, willing to be a little experimental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, Dana, I told you I'd try to keep it around 15 minutes. I think we're about at that mark. I really appreciate the time that you've shared with us. In closing, if
Mhm.
we were to come back and catch up, say, in another 6 months at your
Mhm.
1 year mark of being CEO, what would you have hoped to have accomplished by then?
I hope we have a group of people that are both employees and members who are as allied and as mutually loyal as they are right now. I hope our growth trajectory continues. I hope to have made a couple of interesting new products that serve the underbanked and unbanked available. And I hope that we're still smiling just like this. And if we do connect in 6 months, I might have a little stuffed black squirrel for you ready.
All
So
righty. Thank
yeah,
you
you
so
can
much.
check him out.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Dana. I
Always
appreciate it.
a
You have a
pleasure.
wonderful day today.
Be well, Greg.
Bye bye.